Our last story tonight is about crickets. Crickets, plural. We're talking about the insect, not the sport. What are your thoughts about having them as food? A lot has been written and said about their nutritional value. And now a Canadian food writer has hit the headlines with her take. She says she uses crickets as baby food. She swapped them for meat and calls the bugs a healthy and extremely cheap source of protein. Now, for some cultures that are used to eating crickets, this may not seem like news. But a lot of the world is just beginning to explore the idea of binging on bugs. Here's more.
We want to give our families the very best to ensure that children grow up hale and hearty. That means making sure they eat their veggies and get plenty of nutrients like protein. After all, it's an essential building block for our bodies. But would you be okay with unorthodox sources of protein? Like insects such as the cricket. A Canadian food blogger named Tiffany Lay definitely doesn't mind. She's been feeding her 18-month daughter crickets and swears by it. Now, crickets aren't some novel food fad. Various cultures around the world have been consuming them for millennia. They're even considered a superfood. Why? Because crickets are full of protein and other nutrients, like vitamin B12, calcium, iron, magnesium, fatty acids, and potassium. And not only are the bugs healthy, they're easy to farm too. They grow fast and have a very high nutrient-to-body ratio. Not to mention, they don't take as much space nor emit as many greenhouse gases as traditional meat sources. So they're good for the planet too. In fact, this is true for all insects that are consumed. And there are a lot. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization says almost 2,000 species of insect are consumed around the world. Eating insects like the cricket is common in Asia, Africa, and South America. Certain indigenous groups in Australia eat them as well. India is no stranger to the practice of insect eating either. From fried udonga montana in Mizoram, known locally as thangnang, to ant chutney in Odisha. Some 40-odd insects are eaten in India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Thailand is particularly famous for eating insects, with street stalls lining up to sell crunchy cricket snacks, or in other forms like cricket powder burgers.
We use cricket powder in our burgers to show everybody that the powder, as well as the actual crickets, can be produced into other menus other than street food. Crickets don't have to be on street vendor stalls that are served only with soy sauce. They can be burgers, bakeries, soft cookies, or even paprika seasoning used to flavor French fries. These are all possible.
This cricket powder is what the Canadian food writer feeds her child. It's extremely healthy, being about 65% protein. The powder has been around for a while now. It's easier for people who've never eaten crickets to stomach. Because insect eating is still considered odd or gross, predominantly in the West.
I think people would accept the edible insects more if you make their appearances less scary. You can see foreigners walking past, and they didn't dare try the insects, so if they are processed into something more appealing, then people could eat them more.
There are some risks when eating insects though. Crickets, for example, are known to carry a large amount of bacteria. They need to be properly sterilized before consumption. But that's true about all meat. So the bottom line is, while they may look disturbing, crickets are a great source of nutrients. And moving towards insect consumption may actually make the world a healthier and greener place.